The international film titled Nine is a suspense thriller centered around the discovery of a young woman killed in a ritualistic manner under a full moon in Ghana. It premiered today at the Joburg Film Festival, produced by veteran TV and feature film producer based in Los Angeles, California, Angela White, of the acclaimed faith-based film A Question of Faith, joining us to talk more on this edge-of-your-seat thriller. Angela, appreciate you talking to us on Africa today. Now, we want to talk about Nine, which is something that is premiering. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit about A Question of Faith, which has brought you a huge amount of success. And I believe your first project in the faith sort of storytelling genre, if you will.
Yeah, A Question of Faith wasn't my first film like people thought. I did a movie for BET called Who Can I Run To in 2013, which starred some pretty big gospel stars. It was a way to give one of the stars of Sunday's Best an outlet. But it just went on TV. I think A Question of Faith got out there a lot bigger because it went all over the world. In fact, we premiered here in South Africa in 2018. But A Question of Faith really set the tone of my type of films that my company, Silver Lining Entertainment, likes to do, and the grand value and the production value of what we can do even when we have a little bit. And I think A Question of Faith resonated with so many people because people can relate to, at times we feel God leaves us or God forgot about us. And that's when your faith, you have to dig deep and remember He's always present.
Well, Nine is pretty different to A Question of Faith. It is potentially about some people's faith, but not religion, not Christ-like faith, if you will. I mean, a lot of it is about the supernatural. You shot it in Ghana. Talk to us about that project.
Yeah, I'm so happy I did this project. This was a leap of faith. I needed a leap of faith to go to Ghana, for my company to finance it, not speaking the language, and work with filmmakers I did not know. So it's definitely a leap of faith to do this. Nine follows 9 warrior women who hunt and kill supernatural beings. So they're working for our good. They're trained by the Catholic Church, so they're definitely doing it under the guidance of some type of holy presence.
Are they like exorcists of sorts?
Yes, exactly. And they're hunting the things that we are scared of at night, the things that bump in the dark. And they were trained by the Catholic Church. They were orphans, brought in, trained to understand the darkness in the world and to hunt and kill it. So it's definitely different than A Question of Faith, but it's a fun film. We deal with a little darker elements, but I love the fact that our women are out there to hunt and kill it.
I suppose the thing that particularly interests me is around the amount of work that goes into putting together a project such as this. I'd imagine that most of what you talked about or what is covered in the film is stuff that you're not entirely familiar with. Some of it is about the occult. How did you manage that process? And also talk to us about some of the characters that you have in the film.
Yeah, I definitely, for us as Americans, we definitely talk about witchcraft all the time. And that's very taboo. It's definitely different for Africans, I learned, because there's some witchcraft that I've been taught that can be for your good. In America, we're taught that all witchcraft is for your bad. And so definitely culturally, I had to rethink of witchcraft of it as a religion. And one of the characters plays a professor of religion who studies witchcraft. And he's an interesting character. Our lead is Rosemary Zimu, South Africa's own, who plays a detective by day, really a forensic scientist. And then she plays the leader of this assassin group at night. And she was fabulous to work with, and she did all her own stunts. All the characters did their own stunts, tons of action sequences, and we have a lot of interesting characters, from warlocks, vampires, and even witches.
Is all this real, or is some of it fiction? I mean, as far as...
It's all fiction.
So it's not based on the reality of Africans, of Ghanaians, and what actually happens within their own culture?
No, it's not. It's just basically fantasy. We didn't want to go too deep into... One, we didn't really want to bring witchcraft onto the set, to be honest. We didn't want to do any real spells, nothing too deep. We kept it very surface. Chris Atkins, the director, star, and EP, he knows witchcraft very well, and he did talk to us about what villages do what, and as far as markings and things, but we really try to fictionalize this as much as possible.
Now, Angela, you do both secular and non-secular content. Do you ever feel conflicted in any way?
No, I don't. That's a very good question. I was asked that a lot on a question of faith, and I don't, because I feel in order to even bring people to Christ, I have to be in the world. So I'm very confident in who I am, being a Black American Christian, understanding that I'm rooted and led by God, but also that I can do all types of content, reach all kinds of people. And at the end of the day, it's how we lead our life, which really brings us to Christ, than what we say.
I suppose the next question is around filmmakers on the African continent that are looking to collaborate with you, and certainly with your studio and the phenomenal work that you've done. Have you had any of those conversations? Have you been able to create any opportunities?
Absolutely. Even before I came here, I already partnered up with a South African company. My next project, hopefully, God willing, will be in South Africa, film, if not in Ghana. But we're working to look to shoot in South Africa. There's so many tons of filmmakers here. I'm absolutely working towards doing more African stories. And I want to be clear, as Pan-African stories or transatlantic. I want to merge African Americans and Africans, because we need to bridge the gap, and we need to stop having the division that we have within each other, because we all come from the same place.
Well, let's talk about the premiere of 9, which is happening in Johannesburg. What sort of feedback have you gotten from some of your industry colleagues? Because obviously it's premiered elsewhere.
No, we haven't premiered anywhere. This is the first time an audience is going to see it.
Wow, so we are privy to all of this.
Yes, it's the first time an audience is going to see it. We aren't completely finished, so this is good because we're still fine-tuning the movie. So this is a good stage to get feedback. I'm looking forward to people's comments because we're still fine-tuning it. And you guys are the first. You're the first to get it.
Absolutely fabulous. Well, how are you feeling overall about the film?
I feel great about the film. It's a different piece for me as an African-American woman, or just a woman, period. I have never done this much action. There's over 60 action sequences. We have over 150 VFX scenes. I've never done so much visual effects, special effects. So for me, I feel like I'm breaking ground and letting women all over see that we can be blowing stuff up just like the guys.
Absolutely incredible. Final question, Angela, is Joburg today, where to from here? Where else is it premiering, and what else can we expect?
Well, I definitely want to do a tour of at least 10 countries in Africa. I think it deserves that. Ghana is going to be the big premiere before we release. We're not sold yet. So once we sell to a distributor, we're going to make sure Ghana gets the really big release. And that's because we shot it there. But I definitely want to go to Nigeria. I want to go to Zambia. I want to go to other places because, again, Uganda I would love to go to. It's just bridging the gap. And even for me as African American, I want to go to these countries I've never been. And I need to bridge the gap.
Well, we're absolutely delighted to have you on Africa Today. I appreciate your time and wish you all the best with 9.
Thank you for your team. And people can find me at Miss Angela White, MS Angela White everywhere. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, my website, Miss MS Angela White. Please follow.
We're following right now.
Okay. Thank you, Hugo.
Thanks, Angela. Nice to catch up.
Bye.